Since it's already
So now
okay.
it's started.
Okay. So welcome all. So today we have a discussion on higher studies in Germany. So this is more of a discussion section. This is a discussion session, and I'm Akhilesh. So I'm a volunteer of Lohit Youth Libraries, and I'll be sort of emceeing for this session. And we'll first start with Betham to talk about Lohit Youth Libraries and give us a brief introduction of what it is, and subsequently with other sections. So
Okay.
over to you, Betham.
Thank you so much, sir. And it's so nice to see you, ma'am, Humera ma'am, here again. I have attended last session last year, and it was very fruitful session. Now, my name is Betham Rai, and I'm a volunteer of the Youth Library Network since from my 6th standard, and it has been more than 1 decade. We have been connected with this very much joyful moment. We call it the joy of reading, and it has been a roller coaster ride, as to call it, calling back the days which we used to struggle and used to go around doing so many things, starting from reading promotion, doing dramas which carries a message of bundles of message like environment related, reading promotion, or social evil activities like opium addiction in our society is very much prevalent still, and it is going, and we are trying our way to find out solutions for that also via message, though we can't do directly to prevent them, but then we can provide or disseminate the messages which is very harmful for them. That sort of activities we used to carry, and we have just completed our master, and we are still connected with this very much library movement. And why we are doing this session is that we all are first generation learner. The one who are present here, they all are first generation learner, and we have been very much underprivileged. We never been to high elite classes or schools. We were under always with government schools, and we didn't have this much privilege to interact with other side of country where they have so much advantage. We were unaware about this. So why we are doing this is because we want to disseminate the information. There are so many better opportunities like scholarship we are not aware about. We think that to study outside we need crores of money and lakhs of money to go, but then there are opportunities which we can aware by studying hard, or we can by applying scholarship, or other options are there. So we are not aware about it. That is why we are conducting these sessions to reach a larger audience, but then sadly we don't have here. I hope in coming days we will continue this kind of session in better platform, but then so sorry that we have very less audience, but then we believe in quality rather than quantity. So I hope those in here will use this information whichever Humera ma'am will be sharing, and I hope we will make a best use of this information, and we will try to impart this information whatever you will be sharing to our juniors also. It is very important for us, and though we are still finding our ways out to look forward for better opportunities, and also we are looking after our families. I'm the first as to tell my personal story. I will love to go for a few more minutes. We are five girls in my family. I have one brother, so it is like very much responsibility in my head, so that I'm holding my responsibility. At the same time, I'm also looking for the opportunities like for higher studies with better options like scholarships. So this is why I'm very much keen to learn from you, ma'am. And now this much only. If we talk about this moment, we need 1 week, whole 1 week to understand about this. But then to go, we have to go for a brief talk. So this is what we have been doing, and we have been reaching out the unreached part. There's a motto saying, if the readers cannot reach the book, books will reach the readers. This has been the motto with Uncle Musa. And to thank Uncle Musa again, I'm very grateful the better half of my life has been shaped by Uncle Musa, and I am 50% grateful. Like my life have been shaped by him only. It is all because of him why we are standing here, what we are speaking, whatever we are speaking, or whatever we are able to do so far. It is all because of him only. So Nantri Uncle and Nantri Akhilesh Bhaiya and Nantri to you ma'am also for having us here. So we can go ahead with the session. Thank you so much. I have added a justice to the library moment because so many things are, and mine is boggling many others and coming up, and I might miss some important points or so. Then others can add up. Keshi and
Yeah.
Jinamsi and many are there. So this is it from my side.
Yeah, good. Very.
Thank you for the heartening talk with him. It was really inspiring. So does anyone else have any thoughts on, want to share their experience with Lohit Library network? They can.
I think Akhilesh, Bitham has put it nicely and very briefly and very to the point. So let's go ahead, and then later on, in case somebody would like to join and passing remarks or putting in additions, that can do. I think Ma'am Humera can start her session, but you can go take over. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. So I think there was one more point. So our beloved Uncle Musa, so he's been working for more than 4 decades
Yes.
in Arunachal Pradesh, and he's very closely associated with Arunachali youth, mainly in spreading the joy of reading. And the Lohit Library network was born out of his efforts. And as a right to the recognition, Uncle Musa was also awarded the Padma Shri for this effort. So it's really inspiring to be associated with the movement and with Uncle Musa himself. So I will go ahead and introduce our speaker, Humera Khatoon Siddique. So she is a PhD student at TU Darmstadt in Germany. So Humera has many achievements in her belt, starting with she's now the young ambassador of DAAD of 2022 and 23. So DAAD is probably the biggest research funding agency in Germany. So we are very happy to see that she is the ambassador for the India region. So this will really help us to bring more youth and bring about the awareness of higher education in Germany for Indian youth. She is also the recipient of DAAD COSP scholarship. And she's an excellent academic. She is also a gold medalist at IIT Kanpur, and an alumni of the institute as well. So join me in welcoming Humera Siddique. Thank you once again for holding this session.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the nice introduction. I feel humbled to be here. Yeah. So should we proceed with the session now? Okay. Am I clearly audible?
Sorry, we got a
Okay.
line problem.
Should be good.
Okay. So hello everyone once again. Now we will actually start with the session. So the information from my side. So I would like to first tell it briefly what I would like to discuss. So I would first discuss about master opportunities in Germany. What kind of how can we apply? What are the application criteria for masters? What kind of scholarships you can have for masters? And then I would go to PhD, like what are the different kind of PhDs that are here? What are the scholarships? that we can have. So, and then we can go ahead. So firstly, coming to the masters, there are different scholarships that are available for masters. So first of all, we need to check what are the programs that we have in English. So mostly a lot of German universities have master's program in English. So the first step, so first we can discuss how we would like to apply. So we can look for courses and universities in Germany that we want to study in. There are TU9 universities, the so-called cluster of good universities in Germany. I mean, there are many other good universities, but these TU9 universities are also like IITs in India. So there is this TU9 cluster of universities that are, let's say, considered to be prestigious in Germany. So if you want to start looking for masters, you can have a look at this list of universities, and then you can check the courses that you are interested in, and if that course is in English. So this is the first thing. For applying for a course which is in English, you don't need to have any German proficiency. You can just study in English. And also for masters, you don't need to give any IELTS exam or GRE exam, which is the case for US. So this is a plus point, that you don't need to write GRE or IELTS for Germany. Some universities might need IELTS, but this is not the case for all the universities. You can just give the proof that you have your coursework, your previous coursework or studies in English. This is a kind of certificate that you can get from your previous university, and that is enough for application for masters. Does anyone wanted to say something? I could hear something.
No, ma'am. Continue.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the master's criteria, and some of the universities also have this so the grades are very important. So in your bachelor's, so when you go for taking admission for masters, grades are important, what grades you get during your bachelor's, because there is no other way for universities to judge how good or bad you were. Yeah. So be serious about your grades. So people say, oh, I want to act it cool, grades are not important, grade cannot decide my future, but they hold a certain power when you apply for studies anywhere else in foreign countries. So make sure you have good grades. And then some universities might just have their own entrance exam when you apply for masters. Yeah. So this might be one technical exam that might be there, but this is online exam, and I've heard that it's field related. So if you want to study for aeronautical engineering, they have their own entrance exam, but it's not that difficult. So this is now the eligibility criteria. So you have to be done with your bachelor's. You would need to have a certain grades in your bachelor's. English, if you have just the English studies before, that's also fine. You don't need any IELTS, etc. And then you have to apply for their test that they take, departmental test. And then you take, then you fill the application form. There is this portal called Uni Assist. Very, very important. So this is the most important portal, Uni Assist, where you can go and apply for masters. So this is all about the application process. So there will be the deadlines and everything on this portal. It is mentioned for all the universities. So there are mainly 2 times intake per year. So one would be for the winter semester, which starts in October. So I think for that, application even starts from January or something, because you also need to apply, and then you need to wait for the results if you got selected or not, and then you need to apply for visa and everything. So make sure you keep on checking on this portal, like what are the deadlines, etc. And then, so this is, I think, all about the master's application. And now coming on the master's funding. So what kind of funding opportunities might be there for a master's student? So there is one scholarship which is called Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. I can write it in the chat so that I make sure that you know the right name. Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. So please go to their webpage and check what are the application criteria is there, what are the requirements for an Indian student to apply for that scholarship. So this is one scholarship. The second scholarship that is there, which I got, was DAD scholarship, but this is not for funding the entire master's, but it can only fund my master's thesis work. And unfortunately, this scholarship is only limited for students studying in IITs. So this is not for all of the students. Um, so this scholarship is for 7 months that I got, and I applied on this DAD portal. For this scholarship that I applied, I first need to have a professor who is ready to supervise me. So I was writing emails to the professor if they can supervise me in my master thesis work. And then I need to wait if somebody replies to my email. And I was lucky enough to get a reply from one professor who was then ready to supervise my master thesis work. And then I applied to DAD India office. I sent my application documents, and I also wrote a research proposal discussing what I would be doing in my master thesis. So the entire plan of master thesis. And then based on that proposal and my CV, this DAD India office then decides if they want to give scholarship or not. So those of you who don't know what is DAD, DAD is German Academic Exchange Services. This is the full form of DAD. This is actually world's largest funding organization, not just Germany's, but world's largest funding organization. It has scholarships for students all over the world to come and study to Germany or European Union. So the funding mainly comes from German government and European Union. This is from where DAD gets their funding from. So there is a page, DAD India page, where you can go and check and look for different scholarships. Sorry for a moment. I'm trying to see if I can mute everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now it's fine. So yeah, so this is about DAD. So it's a bit unfortunate, I have to admit, that DAD doesn't provide scholarship to fund entire masters. That's a bit unfortunate, but you can have a look at Erasmus Mundus scholarship about this. I'm pretty sure that it is for funding entire masters. Now I would like to discuss about the case if someone has no scholarship. For example, I save some money and I try to come to do masters on my own. Now how the life looks like. So if I want to do masters without any scholarship, first of all, I need to have a blocked account. Blocked account means that I will block money in my account and I can only extract several euros per month. For that, you need 11,000 euros per year to block. So 11,000 euros is roughly 10 lakhs in Indian rupees. So you block 10 lakh rupees and then you apply for masters. In this way, you can fund your masters by yourself. The good thing is you don't have to pay any tuition fees here in Germany. So this is the beauty of studying in Germany, that you don't pay any tuition fees. So this 10 lakh rupees is, let's say, your expenditure per month, and you will also end up saving some money. You don't pay any tuition fees. You just have a semester contribution of 250 euros per semester. And for this 250 euros, you also get a free travel ticket for students. So you get many student benefits. And this is why university takes this 250 euros per month. That you get a student ticket, you can travel in the whole state in all the trams and trains and buses without any money. And you also get student discounts in movie theaters and museums, etc. So for these student benefits, they charge you, so universities charge you a minimal amount, but there's no tuition fees. So now coming back to the scenario when you don't have any funding, so you block 10 lakh rupees per year, and masters would at least take 2 years. So you have to assume that you need to have 20 lakhs rupees to do masters, to be able to do masters on your own funding. And you can come here and then you can easily get side jobs, provided that you also start to learn German, because getting a side job is easy when you start learning German here, and then you can easily work in a restaurant or something. Or you can also do side jobs at universities. There are some position called HEVI positions at university. So you can also work part-time in some lab or do some work at university. I don't know, but this is like scientific work. which is also then useful for your CV, that you can write, oh, I have this scientific experience, and you can also earn money. So this is the scenario when you don't get any scholarship and you want to do your master's here. Now, I think I am done with the master's, so I would now briefly wait here if anybody has any questions related to masters, and then I would go to discuss regarding PhDs and the scholarship regarding PhD, etc. So does anybody have any question, or is there anything which is not clear?
Yes, ma'am, this Erasmus funded scholarship, does it allow for a part-time job? Like, as you said, for the those who are not getting any funding, does it allow that?
Yes, yes. As a student,
Suppose a student is getting, can he or she also do? Can you hear me?
yes, yes, I can hear you. So as
Yeah,
I
as a
understood,
student.
your question is, if a student has Erasmus Mundus scholarship, can he or she
Yeah.
work part-time?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have to admit, I don't know about this because I didn't apply for Erasmus Mundus, so I have to admit I don't have much experience. But as a general rule in Germany, if you are a student, you can work for 200 half days. It means 100 full days. So 100 full day is 8 hours per day. So as a student, you are allowed to work 200 half days a year. So I would assume as a student, they should be allowed to work, but then one needs to check this Erasmus Mundus page. I'm not so sure about it. But as a DAD scholar, like during my scholarship period, I was not allowed to work because my scholarship was sufficient to, for me to live there in Germany. And I think this Erasmus Mundus scholarship, this is also a sufficient amount to be able to really live nicely. I think it is some 1,000 euros per month, which is like more than enough, I would say. So if the scholarship amount is enough, it might be that this Erasmus Mundus says that you're not allowed, but this needs to be checked.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where could you also talk about the monthly expenses as a student, so that when a student has a block account of say 10 lakhs per annum, how much would they actually end up spending with a side job and without a side job?
Okay, so if, for example, they block 11,000 euros per month per year, their monthly allowance would be 11,000 divided by 12, so something around 900 euros. So for food, I would say the main expenses is food, health insurance, and your rent. These three are the main big expenses per month. So the food, I would say, if you really live lavishly, you would spend something around 200 euros for food per month. And then on the rent, it really depends on which city you are. Some cities are expensive in terms of rent, some cities are less expensive, but on an average, you would end up spending 500 euros. This is the average. You might pay 100 less or 100 more, maybe. So roughly 500 euros for rent. So this becomes then 700, and then some amount for health insurance, I guess 100 or something per month. So roughly, I would say you would need 800 euros roughly to live. And then, of course, your extra expenses. But this 200 for food, I say too much. I don't think you would end up spending 200 euros for food. So I think if you have 850 euros per month, this is then everything, your insurance, your food, and then some extra expenses that you might need, books and other things. This extra 100 or 150 euros might be your extra expenses. So yeah, I would say your expenses are something around 850 euros per month. And I mean, if you do a side job, it depends for how many hours you want to do, but you can easily like earn 500, 600 euros from a side job with your studies, I would say. So this is what is doable. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you get 1,000 euros from this Erasmus Mundus scholarship, this also for sure will cover all your expenses. Yeah, and then of course it depends on your lifestyle, how much you would like to spend on which thing. Yeah. And these blocked accountings, these are also like designed in such a way, like they consider inflation and everything, and this is how this blocked amount information is decided by German government. They decide how much minimum money student needs per month to survive, and that's how they fixed this amount. Oh, now you need 11,400 something euros per year. So this amount makes sure that you will not, suffer hunger here. You would have enough money for yourself. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
What about the accommodation? Will it be less expensive in a hostel or a university hostel or outside? Which will be the better one for an Indian student?
The university hostel was cheap. I lived in university hostel during my master thesis work. The problem with university hostel is that it's very competitive to get. There are a lot of international students who are applying there. So there is a lot of waiting queue. That's just a problem with university hostel, but it's cheap. And how they have it here is that they don't have like a hostel thingy, but they have it like a flat. So in a flat, there are 4 different rooms. They call it WG, WG, they call it WG. And there are 4 different rooms and a common kitchen. You have to cook by yourself. So this is something very different from India. You don't get cooked food here because I mean, what kind of food they would cook? They are German, and now international students are coming here from different countries. They are not even sure if other students from different countries would like German food or not. So they don't provide food at all in the hostels. They just provide a flat, a kitchen, and then you share flat with different people, and then you cook your own food in the kitchen. Yeah, so living in student accommodation from university is cheap, but difficult to get. And living outside university is might be a bit expensive, but you can get that easily as compared to student dorms. And the more far you live from university, of course, the cheaper it gets. Yeah.
And also adding to this point, the shared accommodation that you get outside is almost equivalent to the rent you would pay in a student dormitory. So even if there's this university hostel and all of that, the rent that you would pay in a shared accommodation is almost equivalent to what you would pay in a hostel. So and there are a lot of shared accommodations here. So getting one should not be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is no concept of a PG here. So they won't provide food or anything. So you have to cook by yourself. So every shared apartment would have a kitchen, and you can just prepare what you want there.
Yeah. So for example, the rent that I pay here is 430 euros, just to give the idea. How much do you pay, Akhilesh?
I pay around 550.
Yeah.
550.
What about the room heating, etc.? Whether there will be problem in adjusting to the weather in Germany for an Indian student?
That's a very good point. Yeah, it depends where you come from. So if you come from Manali or Kashmir, I think not so much problem. But if we come from a region which is not as cold, yes, it's very cold, but the rooms are very well, let's say, isolated. So there is a good heating system. For example, for my flat, I have this floor heating system. I can switch on the heating when it's very warm. I mean, nowadays, due to energy crisis, I try to not, I try to bear as much as possible. But I think the rooms and all the buildings are very well isolated, university buildings and rooms. Otherwise, people will not be able to survive here. The temperature simply goes into minus I don't know, it was -9 in December. So yeah.
But
Yeah.
but for Arunachali students, it should not be a problem.
Yeah, that's also very cool. Yeah.
But we are almost in the plains as much these days. Teju and rowing are no more the cold what it was. It's quite hot in December.
Climate change.
Yeah, climate change. Yes.
Uh-huh.
One more ask from my side. So you mentioned these websites, right? So is there a way that we can compile the website links so that it's useful for?
Yeah.
It'll be very Uni Assist.
Yeah, so this Uni Assist is the portal through which one can apply for masters. Um, we can compile these websites, but I have more experience. I don't think we have many websites which tells you about masters, because I think one needs to be because there are so many courses, like one needs to go to university websites and have a look at themselves. But there are many websites for PhDs. PhD position, because this is kind of advertised position, and then it is easy for a third party website to be able to follow it, like then they have their own website where they advertise all the different PhD positions that are advertised in different universities. But for masters, it is also difficult to, like, because there's every year masters opening. So for that, one really needs to go to check university pages. And this UniAssist. So UniAssist is the portal through which one can apply for masters, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So for masters, one needs to look for themselves at university pages, what courses are there, what's the deadline for admission, Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions related to masters?
Could you suggest any particular group of universities where for the social sciences it's well known, or where the Indian students, I mean, the students whom we have in our target are mostly from social science background?
Okay.
So would you suggest some particular universities or particular part of Germany where they'll get better education or better guidance, or better they can pursue?
Okay. I have to admit, I don't have much experience in the social sciences field, because I myself is from science field, so I have more experience in the technical universities. But I can definitely ask my colleagues who are like Germans and they know about it, and I can also read in the internet what are the best universities from social sciences, and then I can write to Akhilesh, and then he can forward this information to you. I will write it now.
Please.
So if I can ask, how many of you in this call are looking for masters in Germany? You can unmute yourself.
Or you can raise the hand simply.
I do not know. How do I unmute? At this moment, I may not be able to, tell a specific number of persons whom I know now, but there could be some who, after listening to this, feel that, oh, why not? I didn't know these details. Now I think I might. So there could, we can't exactly tell how many would be the number. That will be a bit too early to say. But it requires for the young people to think, then talk to their parents and get the confidence to apply. So that takes a bit of time. So it'd be premature to say that only so many numbers. But having since you have said that for October winter admissions, right now January is the time to prepare, I am sure that some of them will start thinking about it. And we can, using this conversation, we can even guide some more people.
True, sir.
Yes. And we are bombarded with so many information. So I think we will articulate these things with Anchor and discuss if we can go ahead with these informations. That's why we'll make a best use of this. If we are not, then others can. That's what we'll do.
Okay, so I guess now we can proceed with the PhD. And in the end, if you also have questions, we would have again a question answer round. And if you have questions, then you can also discuss in the end or after PhD discussion. So now coming to the PhD. First of all, what are the different kinds of PhD opportunities that are here in Germany? You can have 3 different kind of PhDs. You can do a PhD in universities under the funding of professor. So basically, professor has a funding from some project, and he or she will give you the money from that project, and you are kind of employed as a PhD employee. This is one way of doing a PhD. The second way of doing a PhD is to apply for different scholarships. So you have a scholarship, you come at your own money, and you do a PhD. That's the second way of doing a PhD. The third way of doing a PhD is to apply for industrial PhD. So you go to an industry, and these industries also regularly advertise a PhD that they need to do research in their industry, because here in Germany, this R&D system is like really, really strong, and industries spend a lot of money on their research side. So they also end up having some PhD positions in industries. So this is the third type of PhD position. So this industrial PhD position, I would start with industrial PhD position. For this PhD position, one needs to know German, because most of the industrial work is being carried out in German. And I would say this is kind of not so easy to get this position if you don't know German. There might be some positions that are in English, but one has to check constantly on the advertisements. Now, the question is, how do I know about the advertisement of PhD positions in industry? There is this, so you can check on LinkedIn, you can subscribe or follow the important industries or important channels, for example. Then there is another website. I don't have the name in mind, and this website is all the time advertising the positions. Okay, I will write it when I will have the name in mind. I will write it in the chat for sure, and for sure by this in the end of discussion, I will definitely write. So this is one thing. So now this is all about the industrial PhD position. Coming back to the second type of PhD that one can do is that we do PhD and we have our own funding. So doing a PhD by a scholarship. So there's a good news that DAD, this German Academic Exchange Services, offers a PhD, a scholarship to do PhD for all the students. So for all the Indian students can apply for this PhD scholarship. The requirement is that you have to be finished with your master's, first of all. And now how to apply for DAD scholarship for PhD. So first of all, we need to find a professor in Germany who is ready to supervise you. So who is ready to be your supervisor for your PhD work. Typically, one has to start writing emails to different professors, asking him or her that, oh, okay, I will apply for this DAD scholarship. Are you ready to supervise me? I'm really interested in this XYZ work that you are doing in your group. Well, keep in mind, when you apply to professors, please don't write general emails and just copy paste to all the professors, because students tend to do that because they think that I have to apply to so many professors. Why do I not write a general email and just change the name and change the subject and just send the common email to all the professors to make the process fast? But please don't do that. Write a very personalized, specific email to the professors. Because professors are really smart. If you write a general email, they will immediately get to know that this person is not serious, because he's just writing a general email, maybe to 1,000 of professor. And maybe he or she doesn't even know what I'm doing in my group. So if you apply for DAD scholarship or any scholarship, please make sure that you write a very personalized email to a professor saying that, okay, I am interested in this XYZ topic. Name that topic. That what work are you interested in that professor's working group. So then you apply to write emails to different professors and then wait. If somebody replies to you, then that professor might have an interview with you to discuss and to see, how let's say sound you are in science. And then if he or she is ready to supervise you, the next step is to apply to DAD India office for the scholarship. Then you apply to DAD India office, send your documents, send the supervision letter from the professor in Germany. And then after that, DAD India will invite you for the interview in Delhi. So there will be a panelist of professors from German universities and also from Indian IITs, like big professors, let's say. And then they will interview and they will discuss related to your research proposal. So you also have to write a research proposal, like what are you planning to do in your PhD work. Then there will be this interview, and after you are selected in your interview, you will get this scholarship for doing your entire PhD. And it's beneficial if you start to learn basics of German, or at least start to learn a bit of German. That's also really, really helpful in your interview, because that shows the committee that you are culturally competent. You are, ready to learn their culture, ready to be able to adjust in their country. And this is how one applies for DAD scholarship for PhD. One has to make sure that one has to know that there's a big timeline for PhD university for PhD for DAD scholarship application. So the deadline of DAD scholarship for PhD is October 20 this year for the PhD, which is actually going to start in next year October. It's a 1 year. It's a 1 year application deadline. So you have to be finished with all your application. You have to be finished with finding a professor by this year, October. And DAD takes your document in October, and they will invite you for the interview around February, March next year. And then they will announce the result around May or April. Then you start applying for visa and all, and then you can start with your PhD in October next year. So it's a long timeline for DAD scholarship for PhDs. Second way is to look for scholarships, which is not DAD scholarship, but other scholarships. So one has to look in the universities. The departments also sometimes announce scholarships. But this is very university specific. One has to check the departments, the individual department websites, if there is any funding for PhDs. So you might be lucky to get that funding as well. Then the third, I think I already discussed the third type of PhD position, so which is the departmental position. But the most easiest one to get is money from professor. So if you're lucky, you just apply to a professor. So you don't apply to DAD scholarship, but you just write an email to professor explaining that you are interested in this XYZ topic. And if there is a position in your group, if there is a PhD position in your group, just ask him or her directly. And if a professor has funding, so these professors have projects from German government or from European Union. So they have big projects, which gives them like millions of euros to do a certain project, a certain research. And within that project, they generate PhD positions because they need PhDs to work for them. So you can just directly write them and ask if they have a PhD position and if they have funding available. And in that way, if you're lucky, you will get a reply and you will then get selected, and you don't have to bother about any scholarship. The professor is going to give you the money. And the money that you will be getting in a PhD would be something around, so it depends on what kind of contract do you have. So there can be different contracts that you can get. So you can have a 100% contract, PhD contract, which is like 100% money. You can have 75% contract. You can have 66% contract, and you would get something around in the range of 2,000 to 2,600 or 2,700 euros per month as a PhD student. Yeah. And as I already discussed, the monthly expenses are around 800 to 900 euros. And then you would also be, I mean, of course, it depends again on your expenses. But if you come here and do a PhD, you would also be able to save a lot of money, I would say. And it's definitely like 8 to 9 times the amount that you would be earning in India. So doing a PhD here is like really a good good opportunity, or let's say at least in terms of money, if you compare the PhD in India and PhD in Germany, it's a really good let's say it's a good decision to do a PhD here, because in India anyways, if you do a PhD, you would also work so hard. You would work hard there and you would work hard here, no matter where you do a PhD. But the amount or the money that you get this hard for that hard work is like 8 times here, you know. So it really makes sense to give an effort and just to try, just to, you know, just write an email to the professor. You may never know, they need really people who do PhDs. So there are so many international students here who are doing PhD, because Germans, they mostly tend to do bachelor's or master's. Only those Germans will do PhD who are really into research, who are really interested in research. So most of the German students will start doing jobs even after bachelor's or directly after master's. So they have a lot of PhD positions that are vacant and they cannot fill it by Germans. So they anyways need international students who come here and do PhD. So it's a very good, let's say, probability that you end up getting a PhD position. You just need to reach out to the right professor in a right way. Yeah. Yeah, and also I would like to emphasize that if you come to Germany and if you do a PhD, it's a very good work-life balance here as compared to India. You don't have to really go to universities on weekend. If you want to work, of course, that's up to you, but you're not forced to work as much as you might be doing in India. Yeah, so it's also good in these terms. And if you come to Germany, you are as this European Union allows, you are also, you know, you can travel to different neighboring countries to Germany. So you also get to travel a lot, because your visa that you get to come to Germany is also valid for 26 other countries in the European Union. So you can also then travel a lot. So that's also another benefit. Yeah, so that's all, I guess, from my side for PhD. Now I'm looking forward, if you have any questions, specific questions related to PhD, I would be happy to answer them.
Yes, Humera, this information about PhDs was very, very useful. I have a thing. How do you locate the professors who could help you? What is the way to locate the professors whom we can write about? For example, as I said, most of our students are social sciences. So how do we locate, and what is the way to locate?
Yeah, so to start with, so because if I was a student and if I was so for example, if I'm a student who is in India and I don't have much experience, to start with, I would first look for universities that are, let's say, that have English courses in social sciences. So I would Google it simply, like which universities in Germany offer English courses in social sciences, or what are the good universities to study social sciences in Germany. So something like that. So I would try to Google a bit. What I can contribute from my side is I can also talk to my colleagues. As a German, they might have more experience, because my experience is mainly in technical field, because I'm studying in a technical university. So I would first look for universities. Like I would first shortlist and list all the universities that are of interest for me, that offers English speaking courses in social sciences. So this is the first thing that I would do. Once I have the list of universities, I would go to their websites and I would go to their department website. There in the department website, we will have a list of professors with their emails. And and
Okay.
also the professors have their individual homepage, and on that homepage you can see what are these professors working on, what are the topics they are working on. And if you're interested in that topic, you have the email available. Just write to them that I'm interested in this or that topic, and then wait for the response. So this is how I would proceed.
Okay.
Mhm.
And yeah, thank you so much for that.
You're
Yeah, that's a
welcome.
very healthy. Yeah.
You're welcome. This is also how I did for DAD. When I was applying for DAD COSP scholarship, I had no idea which university is good or where should I look. But I just knew that I can apply to these TU9 universities, which are, let's say, the most prestigious technical universities in Germany. So I at least have this frame in mind that I have to apply to these 9 universities, because these are the only universities that come under DAD scholarship. So in this sense, I was limited. So that was, let's say, a bit easier for me because I knew what universities are there in my list. But for you, I think it's for anyone who wanted to do a PhD in social sciences, I think it's even more broad. You can apply to many different universities for doing a PhD. Yeah. So this is how I would proceed.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice.
You're welcome.
One additional point I'd like to make is every university has their own website. Every department has its own web page. So you can just go to so I can actually give you a demo of how you can do it. So like, for example, in my university, they have humanity studies and as such. So I'll just share my screen and probably show you as to how that can be done. Okay, I think it's disabled for me. Cannot share the screen, I guess.
Now you can share the screen.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. On and off is
So for
going.
example, is this visible? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll just,
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can.
so I just Google search social science university, German universities.
Mhm. Oh.
And then I get a list of, I get a lot of these results. So for example, there are 192 universities here.
Mhm.
So then I search for, okay, this university, LMU Ludwig Maximilians University, there's Technical University of Munich. Okay, so I've heard of this Munich somewhere. So I just copy and paste. So then the first result would be the university's website, and I click on it. So I just accept all. And there's an option of German and English. So I've chosen English. So you see that there are a lot of options here, but all I want is their list of courses, right? So let's see if I can just search. Social science. So I get a list of news and all this. So this is not proving to be better. So I just Google search again with social science and technical university.
I think you should not write technical university, maybe just social science universities.
Yeah, I'm looking for Munich. So Technical University of
Yeah.
Munich.
Okay.
So I just search for this.
Uh-huh.
So then I see, oh, okay, so they have this department starts IT. Let's check. Yeah. And here you have different departments. So for example, this, let me just check. So I see there are these academic programs, right? So I click on this. Okay, this is down or something. Anyway, for just demo purposes, so my university has social science. So I just do social science. So HHU is the university that I study in. And then I look for, okay, there's political science here and social sciences. So this is the Department of Philosophy. And this is in German. Just a moment. Let's say this one, right? So I see, okay, in political science, there are these professors.
Okay.
Here. So these are the professors who are working in this university. And then I look for their research interests. So I'm interested in, say, some diplomacy or something, and I just look at, oh, what is their research areas, and if they align it with mine, so I just, let's say, for example, Dr. Lina Mash, so I just search for them here. And so since Humera was talking about LinkedIn, right? So everybody should have LinkedIn. This is where you get professional connects. This is just like Facebook for professional use. And you search for Dr. Lina Mesh. Okay, she's she's not there here. So let's say some other professional. Dr. L. Yeah, so this is, so I found their profile. And once you find their profile, you can connect with them, or you can even message them directly. So this is how, maybe we can have a separate session on how to use LinkedIn and how to create a profile and all that, that I can help, because it is really important to have this profile in LinkedIn, so that it's easier for you to connect with the professors.
Okay. Great. Yeah, that was very useful. Thank you.
I have a question. So are there any scholarships for first generation students? Because in the US, there are some scholarships, but I don't know in Germany if there's one.
So correct me if I'm wrong, by first generation students, you mean bachelor students?
No. So first generation is, I'm the first one in my generation of, in my bloodline to reach, say, masters.
Marginalized communities, maybe. That's what you mean?
Yes.
Marginalized communities? Yes.
Marginalized communities, where I'm the first person to get into a master's program. So my parents have not, and their parents have not. So I'm the first one in my generation, through the generations, to get into a master's program. So those are the first generation students.
Okay.
Because there are scholarships in US where they have a separate category for first generation students. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have to admit, I don't have information on this. I would myself have to check if there are any scholarships for the first generation students.
That will be useful. Yes.
I will write.
And also scholarships for indigenous communities.
Okay.
Also for girls.
Yeah, I will have a look. For sure. I'll get back to you on this, Akhilesh. I mean, that's a good information for me as well. I mean, I would also learn something. Yeah, if there are these some scholarships available for this case or not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions related to PhD?
Is it good first to do a postgraduate course in Germany and then apply for a PhD, or for an Indian to directly apply for PhD?
Well, it depends. I mean, if someone gets to do masters in Germany, then why not? If you get a funding and you do your masters here, it might be that you
Yeah.
directly get a job here without even needing to do PhD. So I mean, of course, why not? I would say if somebody is not that interested in research, then he or she does not need to go for a PhD then. So yeah, I would say masters is good, because Germany is in a need of skilled laborers. Like there is a big shortage of skilled laborers in Germany. So if you do masters here and you learn language, it's highly probable that you will definitely get a job. So then people mostly go for a job after doing masters here. All of my friends whom I know from masters, all of them are doing job here now after doing their masters. So I think one who comes here for masters doesn't want to do a PhD. Yeah.
The power of money.
The power of money. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
I think one more question is regarding the masters. So if someone doesn't have an idea of how to create this blog account, and how to go about the procedures, so not with respect to the university, but with respect to the other things. So for example, the visa, the blog account, the logistics, and the general life in Germany as such. Because I think most of the students would be overwhelmed with the life in Germany, and because it is very common to have that kind of an inferior feeling when we come from India, and everyone is white, and it's a different kind of a feeling. So could you share some of the thoughts on this side of things?
Just a minute before Humera answers this question. Is it necessary for a Erasmus funded scholar also to create a blogged account?
No,
Of
no, no,
10
no. No, no. So this blocked account is only needed in a case when we don't have any scholarship. So this blocked account is a way for German government to check if a student is coming from outside to study here, he's not on streets. He has enough money to survive. And this is what is blocked account. And block account, as the name says, it's like your money will be blocked. You will only be allowed to take out a certain money per month. For example, let's say if you have this money, 11,400 euros, is decided by German government. You need to block this amount, and you can only take out, let's say, 900 euros per month. So that government makes sure that you only take 900 euros per month, and this will then, so you will have money for one whole year when you have 11,000 euros. So this is why they have this concept of block account, to make sure that student has enough funds to survive in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, as a DAD scholar, when I came here, I didn't need any block account because I was getting money. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to clarify. Yes.
Yeah. So you're coming back to your question, Akhilesh. Well, I would say living in any other country is not as easy as we think, and not as cheesy, or not as nice as it seems from outside. Sometimes it's really to push your horizon, like it's really to come out of your comfort zone. But believe me, if you come and live here, you will have a different level of growth when you live in any other country, be it Germany or any other country. Coming back to this racism thingy, I would not call it racism, but I would say being different. But I think this feeling, I would say in Germany, it's still relatively better. I mean, there are not many instances, or I would say there's no such serious instance where I would have felt, being treated by some racist or something. So I would say Germany is still relatively very good in these terms. There is no, let's say, open, obvious racism. And of course, if you go anywhere, I think a certain level of racism exists everywhere. But then don't think about that. Just think about your own progress, that you came here to learn something, big, or to come out of your comfort zone and to learn from here. So just focus on your own growth and your own development. And I think once we start living here, we also get used to the culture here, and then I think it's not much of a problem. One thing that is difficult in Germany is to find friends, especially German friends. It might be a bit difficult because they speak a different language. So there's language barrier. I mean, of course they speak English, but when you speak to someone in their own language, that's a different thing. So this might be a bit difficult, but then you will get enough of Indian friends here who are living, and you can be friends with other international people, because then you are in the same situation, because they are also finding it difficult to have friends, and you are also finding it difficult, and then you two become friends. Yeah, apart from that, I would say it's a very different work culture. People are very, very punctual. They are really kind of perfectionists, doing everything in a perfect way. Yeah, but I would say we get to learn a lot, in short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Akhilesh can also add some points with his experience of living in Germany. How is your experience so far? What are the
Yeah,
things that you learned?
I absolutely second your thoughts. It is challenging. At the same time, if you are just focused about your growth and not not worry too much about what is happening outside, I don't think anything would affect you, because you are just living with your research and your research group, um, and the university friends you might make. So um, I I wouldn't emphasize too much on the outside things that happen. So and as to the safety concerns, it is extremely safe to live here. In fact, Germany has one of the lowest crime rates in the world. So it is very safe. So this is a point that you can make to your parents as well. So
Safe for women also? Yes.
sir, I don't know about women. I think Humera should answer that.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to jump into this question. Yeah, it's very, 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 very safe.
Safe for
Very,
women.
very safe. Yeah. Very, very, very safe for women. Sometimes I come from lab at 12 a.m. at night because my measurements are running and I cannot come before. And it's really, really safe for me. I never faced, so I'm here living here since 4.5 years now in Germany, and I never faced anything that sort of thing. I can just walk freely in the street even at 2 a.m. at night. So it's very safe for women.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay. So I also sent in the chat this DAD page where we can also have a look at this different scholarships of DAD. I think there are also some scholarships for social sciences. Please go to this page and then you will also find this DAD scholarship. So it might be that I might have missed on some scholarship. Please have a look there. It says find funding. I can maybe even share my screen. Wait. That's easy. So I just clicked on the link that I sent. Can you see my screen? So this is the DAD page, this DAD India page. I just will go to this find funding option, and there you will see there is this scholarship database. finding scholarship. I'm from India. Keyword maybe social science, and then you check your status. So if you're undergraduate, you're looking for, oh, maybe I should have said here, social science. Let's see if we have language and cultural, law, economics, and social science. And then I say find scholarships. Let's see if we have scholarships for social sciences. Oh, unfortunately, there is 0 scholarship for your selection. Okay, if I now say I'm a graduate, let's see if we have any scholarship. Oh, also 0. That's pretty unfortunate. So doctoral, find scholarship. Okay, that's a bit unfortunate. Now I remove this DAD funding only. Maybe there. Okay, no. Graduates, doctoral. Okay, yeah, that's a bit unfortunate that DAD does not provide scholarship for social sciences. Yeah, well, that's not so nice.
I think I'd like to make a point here. So even if you are interested in social sciences, there are a lot of these interdisciplinary fields that you can enter. So, for example, I work on languages, and it is an interdisciplinary field where I work with both languages and computer science. So though I work mostly on computer science, I do programming and all of that, but I'm in a linguistics department. So you see that you should not be disappointed that there is no scholarship available in social science. But if social science is
I mean,
so
this
if
is just
social
the
science is tied up with
I didn't mean to
so
interrupt you. Sorry.
yeah, so you should not be disappointed if you don't get into social science as a field of itself, but rather an interdisciplinary field where social science is used. So, for example, say in even in terms of we have this interdisciplinary field called social linguistics, where there is social science and linguistics. You would be doing more of social science work in a linguistics department. So that is also possible. So it's not that if you want to do social science, you have to be in the social science department itself. So that's something you have to keep in mind. And it is very common that the interdisciplinary fields exist. So it's not like in India where you have this hard boundaries between say history and geography or civics or whatever, but you have this collaboration of different fields. So the main focus should be on your research interests, what excites you the most, and not really all this superficial department and all of that. That is just a imaginary construct, right? All you have to care is the work you do. So that's something I wanted to add. Any more questions before we conclude?
Nothing as such, but then I think we will discuss if we happen to search for anything, then I think we are just phone call away with you, sir. So we'll reach out to you if we have any doubt for further queries. For now, was very inclusive session. It was very nice to know such an details very clearly. Thank you, Humera ma'am, for this beautiful session. We are still processing with this so many info.
Yeah, so and Humera, if you can tell all of the audience as to how you can be reached, if you have any further questions,
Yeah.
that will be helpful.
What a coincidence. I just wrote my email address in the chat before you even asked me for that. Yeah, so here is my email address. You can write me whenever you want to. I am
Fine with the audio as of now.
Yeah, I'm not able to start it. It's nothing is coming on screen.
Yeah, I think you have turned it on, but because of the bandwidth issue, you're not able to. We are not able to see you.
Probably. Yeah, now I can see you.
Oh, okay, perfect then. Perfect.
okay.
So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Humera, for conducting this beautiful session. I think it was very informative. And we hope to have more such kind of sessions in the future. And I'd like to thank all of the participants. And yeah, thank you so much. We'll meet soon.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot from Jinam. See, I saw your message in the chat. Yeah, well, indeed, it was a pleasure for me to get to know about this library and see how great the initiative is, which you are taking to think out of box, from place where you come from. I think it's really like you're doing something out of your comfort zone already. So I would really be glad to be able to help you in whatever way I can. And I'm glad that I know Akhilesh, that he could connect me to all of you. Yeah, so please reach out to me here all the time, anytime you have any questions. And let me just give you my LinkedIn profile. That would also be of help because I'm very active on LinkedIn. Those of you who have LinkedIn account can reach me out on LinkedIn as well. So just give me a moment. I'll give that on chat and then we can conclude the session. Now my internet is slow.
Rishi, you want to say something, or anyone out here? I said a lot, so I'm giving a chance to others.
Yeah, please.
Really, indeed, it was one of the best session we have attended so far, and we are hoping to see forward to have this more kind of sessions and whatnot to learn from you, like-minded people out there doing so much, and hand-holding you are trying to hand-hold us for a better path, and we are really thankful and grateful at the same time. Thank you